It's time to do an autopsy on the 2025 Philadelphia Eagles and figure out why this team couldn't win back-to-back titles.
Plus, we have a special guest tonight, Brett, joining the show. Welcome to Birds Coast to Coast.
You're listening to Birds Coast to Coast. Here's your host, John Clark and Tanner Riddle.
All right, guys, we got a special show. Last week we talked about the obituary of the Arizona Cardinals. Today we're going to hop to the East Coast and talk about the obituary of your, former reigning Super Bowl champion, Philadelphia Eagles. And joining us today is my wonderful little brother, Brett Clark. And, we have a lot of history with the Philadelphia Eagles. And, Tanner had his friend kind of dissect the dead bird with him last week. So me and Brett are going to take a crack at dissecting this Eagle this week. Brett, you want to kind of talk to the fans out at home about who you are and, what your experiences with the birds?
Sure. Yeah, thanks, Al. Yahoo, appreciate that. Long-time listener, first-time caller. Appreciate you having me on.
Mm-hmm.
Been an Eagles fan as long as I can remember. One of my first memories is that Super Bowl with back in what was it? 04?
2004 season, February 2005.
Yep, Brady going against McNabb. And that's one of my earliest and happiest memories was becoming an Eagles fan and seeing us go to the Super Bowl that year.
I'm shocked you remember that.
One of my first memories.
I barely remember
it. And that's all I can remember ever since then. If I see an Eagles shirt, I'm going to hit you with a Go Birds. That's just what it is.
That's the culture. Yeah. I heard no, you actually just came back from London recently. You told me that you kind of got some overseas Go Birds action.
They were there.
What was happening over there?
They were there, just walking around London. They hit me with it. It was a Go Eagles, and I took a double take, and I was like, close enough.
Wait a second.
I corrected him. I hit him with a Go Birds. So hopefully he knows now that when he sees another one, that he won't make that same mistake.
Can't make the same mistake twice. No, whenever I'm hitting up Aldi or walking through the grocery store and I see a person wearing any Eagles jersey or any Eagles anything, I'll be looking at him. I'll tell my wife Marissa, I'll be like, I'm gonna do it. And then they go and she goes, don't do it. I'm like, Go Birds. And then they hit me with a Go Birds most of the time. Most of the time. When they don't, it's awkward.
It is.
It's really awkward when they don't.
Some people just like green.
Yeah. Or they'll just like stare at you or do like the head nod or something. And we're not a very friendly folk to begin with, so they might not be having a good day. So it's always a risk, but I go for it. It's worth it. Maybe it works. Well, brighten the day. But Brett, thanks for joining us. I know we've been trying to get a lot of people on the pod these past few weeks, and since we did the Cardinals obituary and now we're on the Eagles obituary, we're looking to get a lot of people on this summer, and hoping
we haven't tried too hard. Don't sell us short.
We're
not that desperate.
No, we're gonna get people on, and
we have a line.
As
got a list with an agent.
As Matthew McConaughey said, we gotta take a look at where we've been and see where we're going. So like we gotta figure out where we've been before we figure out where we're going. So This is the where we've been episode. So we're gonna see where we've been. So Tanner, what do you want us to kind of start with? I know you kind of mentioned like going through like some quarterly season summaries or something like that.
Well, there's just a little bit of news around the league that I figured we should mention.
No, that's right.
All of the coordinator positions are now officially filled. The Browns filled their defensive coordinator spot with Mike Rutenberg. It sounds like he ran a similar scheme as Jim Schwartz. So, I mean, makes sense. And then the last OC job was actually a promotion for the Rams. Nate Schulhaus. Is that how you say his name?
Yes.
He was the passing game coordinator. I know you had interest in him for the Eagles OC job.
Yeah.
So he'll be a future head coach starting next year, probably. The other note that I actually saw part of the Rams announcement today, they announced Cliff Kingsbury's position with the Rams.
What is it?
Official title is assistant head coach.
I've always wondered when I see assistant head coach, it's like a fake like superior title that's really high.
It's Dwight Schrute.
Yeah, is he the assistant head coach or assistant to the head coach? I mean, there's a
Exactly.
big difference.
Right.
Honestly, from Cliff Kingsbury's perspective, have you heard the idea of like you you have to grant access for someone to interview for another position if it's a lateral move? So you don't have to get permission if you're going to interview someone for the head coach role if they're a coordinator. But if they're going to interview for the same title, then the team could actually block an interview request.
Hmm.
I do wonder from Cliff's perspective if he would prefer not to have had the OC job or at least the title. So there's no confusion or mix up as to if someone has interest in him. I doubt the Rams would hold Cliff from actually interviewing somewhere, but I don't know. That is interesting. I don't really know many other assistant head coaching jobs. Usually they have another role, like defensive passing coordinator and assistant to the head coach. I've seen that, but I don't know. Thought it was interesting. A little Cardinal tie in an Eagles
No,
podcast.
this just
Gotta
screams.
throw it in.
It screams
Yeah.
like let's have a good year with the Rams, and then your name will come up and look good because you're attached to me, and then you'll have a good opportunity to be like a OC or a head coach somewhere. That's kind of what I see. Like just come hang out with me in LA, hang out with the next coaching cycle, and then go get a job somewhere else. That's what I think.
Well,
It's a
what's
good spot
weird
to
is
hang
that
out.
he was with the Commanders, and I don't think he necessarily got fired, but I think it was a mutual agreement to like, let's go explore other options.
I'm so glad he
So,
didn't end in Philly. I couldn't deal with the rectangle offense in Philly. So many people were like, "Yeah, Cliff Kingsbury." I'm like, "No, you don't know enough Cardinal fans. You don't know what he's capable of negatively." So, so I'm not wanting him. But yeah. So, are there any other news or notes around the league?
no, the only really main opening left is the Vikings GM, which, like I think we said before, that's probably going to stay open. That's just a report that I read. Other than that, all the main coordinator roles should be filled.
Cool. All right. Well, I guess we can go ahead and just start jumping in. Me and Brett's kind of opinion. We'll kind of tackle this in like almost quarterly summaries of the season. It just so happened for me going through the schedule that it kind of broke well to do it in that way, just kind of like breaking it up in different like quarterly segments. So let's kind of go over the first segment. I have weeks 1 through 4, and those games were the Cowboys, Chiefs, Rams, and Buccaneers. And what I listed for those games is that we started 4-0, but all those games were won very ugly, and it was very clear from the very beginning of the season that our offense was not the same offense as it was last year. The offense was not a good running team at all. Like the success that we saw in buckets of 2024, like with Saquon's record-setting year, it just wasn't there. The offensive line played poorly. Everyone missed blocks. The first game of the season, it was weird because like Jalen Carter spit on Dak Prescott, which I remember sitting there the first kickoff of the season, and I was thinking, this is good. Let's just let one thing happen, and it'll be fine. I can just turn my brain off and just enjoy being Super Bowl champions for the kickoff. And then all of a sudden, I see players just kind of gathering around, and I'm like, "What happened? What happened?" Ben Van Sumeren, our fullback, is on the ground holding his knee. A cart comes out for him, and then Jalen Carter's being held back, like, "Woo, woo, woo!" And then I'm like, "Wait, what happened?" And then all of a sudden, I see Dak Prescott got spit on. I couldn't believe it. I could not believe it. That immediately in the first second of the Super Bowl reigning champion defending season, we already have chaos. So fitting. Brett, what do you remember from that Dak Prescott incident?
Oh my goodness. I was actually in New York City the night of that game, and when you're in the big cities, you run late to things, and we're walking down the streets of New York City and about to dip into our bar as I received a text message from you, a text message from my buddy Sean, and my group message saying, "Oh my God, Jalen Carter." I didn't even know the game had started yet. And I couldn't even figure out what was going on. I get into the bar and realize what had already happened. And honestly, I loved it. I thought it was awesome. If anybody's going to get spit on by Jalen Carter, an Eagle, it would be Dak Prescott. Love it. Who cares?
Wasn't there a thing though? Where, like, didn't Dak appear to do something else to provoke that?
Yeah, he did. I think he spit first, and everybody was
Like,
saying Dak spit first, and then
yeah,
that was the whole thing with it, and everybody was mad that nothing happened to Dak.
We need to put that on a t-shirt. Dak spit first. Put
Dak
it on a
spit
t-shirt.
first.
That'd be great. But no, that from the game's perspective, I mean, the Cowboys and Eagles kind of just traded scores, and then eventually the lightning delay happened, and then it just turned into a punting fest. It was so crazy how like that delay just shot both of our offenses. It was honestly it was boring. Like the rest of the game was boring. So not much to say about that. The Chiefs game, I'm going to say it right quick. Like that Chiefs game was about as a bummer of a Super Bowl rematch. I can remember like 2 plays from it. Like nothing really happened because there was no scoring. And again, it just kind of set the tone that this offense isn't the same offense. We couldn't get anything on the ground. We couldn't throw the ball.
Before the line.
Saquon getting touched before the line, and it was just good defense that mucked and grind its way to a win. And then the Rams and Buccaneers all kind of combined because they were 2 very similar games. The Rams, we had like no offense for the entire first half, and we were down by like I think I think we were down by like 19 at some point, and we ended up winning on a blocked field goal. And then the Buccaneers game was the opposite. We had no offense for the second half of the game. We came out like gangbusters, and then we just did nothing with the ball the rest of the day. So it was crazy. So 4-0 start, hey, 4-0. But it was evident that as the season went on, there was going to be issues. Tanner, what did you kind of see from like an outside perspective of our 4-0 start? I mean, I know I was hitting up your phone consistently, but were you kind of worried about what the Eagles looked like from the outside perspective after that 4-0 start, or did you feel that they would like round into form?
no, I trusted them. I mean, they just came off a Super Bowl and they're 4-0. I was under the impression that like they're winning these games playing ugly. Wait till they start like tightening up some bolts here and there.
yeah.
And
That lie we tell ourselves.
You'll win 14 games easily. Probably home field advantage. Like there's not going to be anyone you're going to take over the Eagles. But it also at the same time did feel like the 23 season. I think you guys started 10-1 or something like
yeah.
And then it forced Jason Kelsey to retire, and so like I had like both vibes. It felt confident, but also like there's a little bit of stench here. Like I'm not gonna get concerned unless we like I don't know lose the next 2 games, and then we'll see how it goes. But no, after the 4-0 start. I mean, especially the Rams one was awesome. As a Cardinals fan,
it was a great game. Probably the best game of the year.
Rooting hard for the Eagles. I love the unnecessary touchdown by Jordan Davis.
Oh, we love that.
I bet you every coach. I bet you every coach on the sideline when he first got it was just like go down, like it doesn't matter anymore.
Big man got the ball.
I mean, there was no better visual than a 350-pound dude just like showing off his 40-yard dash.
Combine legend.
They live for it,
and they covered. By the way, so yeah, no, that I mean, I don't know. I at 4-0, I wasn't too concerned.
Yeah, I was, but I get I force feed myself WIP every day, so it's literally just like the sky is falling every 5 seconds. So I was like in paranoia mode, and that leads me to the second quarter of the season. Those games were Broncos, Giants, Vikings, and then Giants again. The first 2 Broncos and Giants were kind of like the we do have problems with this team games. The Broncos, we again had offensive stagnation in the second half, and the Broncos just chipped away, and eventually they ended up winning the game on I think a game-winning field goal. And then the Giants game, which I will say happened on the exact same night that Ryan Kirkering threw the ball away and the Phillies lost a game in the playoffs and ended up getting eliminated by the Dodgers. Our defensive coordinator is a huge Phillies fan. Those 2 events happened almost side by side. The games were happening simultaneously. And what was the worst defensive game in the entire season? The Giants game. Ooh. So I think there is
$50 in that game.
There's a strong chance. There's a strong chance that Vic Fangio was watching. or on his phone. I don't know. I'm sure he was locked in. This is my conspiracy theory. He was locked into the game, the Eagles game, and then saw somehow that the Phillies got eliminated and then just threw his hands up in the air and said, screw this. I don't care. Blitz, whatever, do whatever. And Jackson Dart just kind of like, did his thing up and down the field. Offense couldn't keep up. It was over. It was great. Scatteroo had like 2 or 3 touchdowns. I wanted it to be worse. I was like, run up the score, make it bad. So those were
Giants fan during that game. It was
no.
But
that
$50 was a lock. He wanted to bet me before the game.
So that was a bet for $50. That wasn't
Straight
like
up.
no, that was just with a friend.
That was a friend.
Oh, I thought it was like a sports
betting
betting
hour before the game. I thought it was free money. I was like, "You're crazy! Why would you do this? We're 4-1."
Jeez, that's amazing. He must have known something. My God, that's crazy.
But it is a weird spot though. Thursday night on the road,
rainy at MetLife.
It kind of levels the playing field.
The Phillies lost Game 7 that night, and
the players were upset about that.
Oh, I know. Yeah, everyone was in shambles.
Like you look at the home road splits for Thursday night games. Like home teams have such an advantage. So I mean, obviously we know what happens, at the end of the season, but I still wasn't that concerned up till this point.
No, well, you were fine. I mean, I will say, like at that point, I was recognizing that we had to readjust our expectations for this team. We were 4-2, and all of a sudden, Super Bowl or bust was not on my mind. It was more like, let's get to the playoffs and see what happens. And eventually, we kind of dug ourselves out of it because the next two
Saquon to get going.
Yeah, Saquon never got going, and I feel like that was kind of the point.
It's gonna be this week.
I don't know what week exactly it was when I just realized that he's just not going to get going. I think it was probably somewhere around the second quarter of the season where I was like, it's just not the same type of push the offensive line was getting. And this was also the time of the year where the tush push wasn't working as effectively. Like, so we started to see that all of our linchpins that worked.
One more year, by the way.
Yeah. Oh! I'll get to that.
One more year.
Congratulations.
No. I'll get to that. I'm saving that for later. I got something in the chamber for that.
I do too.
I can't. But yeah. The next two games were the next two games were Vikings Giants, and this is where the AJ Brown stuff comes up because. At this point, AJ Brown was having a really bad year, substandard, wasn't getting targeted. Devontae Smith was actually at this point, I think 4th in the league in yards. So it was more Devontae's having a breakout year. After the Vikings game,
told you, Tanner.
Jalen had a perfect quarterback rating in Minnesota, and Carson Wentz had a terrible game. It was kind of funny. But AJ Brown also had 100 yards and a touchdown. And then after the game, he tweeted a picture of himself catching a touchdown saying, "You're using me, but not using me." And a lot of people in Philly started getting like, okay, buddy, like you had a good game. And then you all of a sudden start tweeting this stuff. And then mysteriously, he was hurt in practice the next week. Where's AJ? He had a good game. Why is he out? He was out against the Giants the next week, the home game. And we had our best all-around offensive performance. And this is when the chirps started growing. Like, hey, like maybe AJ's like not necessary. Like maybe like this is a thing where we can get by without him. And then he starts yapping more about wanting the ball. And then from here on out, something happened. AJ Brown's numbers skyrocketed and Devontae Smith's numbers plummeted. And it went from him being top 5 in the league to him not even barely scratching 1,000 yards at the end of the year. He had to play the last week of the season to get 1,000 yards, and halfway through the season, he was top 5 in yards. Mind you, he was not hurt at all the entire season. So there was a post saying, "Hey, I want the ball." I'm pretty much saying I need the ball right now, and he's not getting the ball. And now all of a sudden, Devontae Smith is like useless. So yeah, it wasn't cool to see. So that was rough to kind of see how it kind of like changed the course of the season for the passing offense. Brett, what was your kind of takeaway from those Vikings or Giants games?
I kind of similar to you. I kept just waiting for the offense to get going. It was just like every week you'd think, this is the week. This is the week. And you'd see the first drive, and you're like, oh, okay. They couldn't even script a good 15, you know?
No.
Like that, like it's the meme of what is it? Saquon down the middle, AJ deep ball.
AJ Brown deep ball.
Yeah, that's
I love that. I love that meme.
It's so fitting. It's great. And I mean, Jalen, great. He had a great year all around. I mean, it's the only guy that I don't have a complaint about, really. And besides Devontae, him and Devontae, love him. I want AJ Brown out. I hate him.
Wow.
It's time. It's time for him to go. He's served a purpose, and now he's a diva. I want him to be traded to some dumpster team where he can get hit 130 targets and have 3 wins.
I'm glad we're on the same car. It's funny. Me and Tanner have been talking about like we need more like I guess more debate. But it seems as though we're on the same boat here, Brett. And it's funny. I had no idea how you felt about this. Shockingly, even though we're brothers, this may shock the viewers at home. We don't chat too much about the Eagles. So we actually don't have these types of conversations a lot. So I don't know everything he knows about the Eagles. I don't know what his stances are. I'm glad
Devontae Smith finished with more receiving yards than AJ Brown.
That's that. Did he?
By 5.
He did.
5 yards.
Wow. Yeah. Wow. All right.
1003.
He ain't going like that. He ain't going. He's definitely up now. All right.
When he hears this, he's not going.
You do say you want him to go to a 3-win team so he can get all the targets.
I'm talking to you, AJ.
There is one team I can't
wink.
The Patriots seem like a perfect fit. They need a wide receiver one. The Vrabel connection.
They're an AJ Brown away from a ring, so I don't want him to go there.
Well, you know what? Let's just pause and hop into this AJ Brown thing because you know what? We'll finish the season recap because quite frankly, I got to get my 2 cents about AJ Brown. I'm done. I'm also done. I can't deal with this anymore. I can't deal with every game. I'm just waiting for a post. I'm waiting for a tweet. I'm waiting for some sort of like, is he happy? Like I don't want that because like honestly, I don't want that for Jalen. I don't want that for me. It literally changed the offense. It literally changed the offense. Like you can tell me that like these posts aren't really like, oh, it don't matter. Like, it's just AJ being AJ. The proof's in the pudding. One receiver went up, one receiver went down. I saw you. I'll do it again. Yeah. These receivers, Devontae was on pace for a career year. I can't understate that. Like he was on pace for a career year, and then AJ got a little uppity, and all of a sudden he's like, Jalen just looked towards his way. And you know what's so funny? It kind of leads into my next quarterly summary because it was evident they force-fed him the ball. I don't know if you remember this, Brett, but like they were chucking it to AJ, and it'd be for like 3 yards. Like it wouldn't even be an effective play. It was obvious they were just trying to keep him happy. Like it wasn't an effective passing strategy, and we'll get into why our offensive coordinator may have been a problem with that because, dear God, may have been the worst offensive coordinator I've ever seen. But those Packers and Lions games that we won, it was barely victories because we were force-feeding it to AJ. Again, couldn't run the ball. Thanks, offensive line. And then we just barely scraped by with wins. And the defense played amazing. This was when that time of the year when we realized we're just going to have to be a defensive team that wins games with our defense playing well.
This defense was wasted.
This is just what we're going to have to do to win games. Like it's going to be scrape by on offense, and maybe the defense keeps us in the game. And the Packers
we're like 8 games removed from the Super Bowl.
Yes, we are. We are literally 8 games removed.
We just gave up on the offense,
and we suck.
Yeah, no, I mean at this point you have to see what your eyes are seeing and make judgments based on what's happening right now. Like this is not the 2024 team anymore. The offensive line got no push. Tanner, I don't know if you've watched as many Eagles games this year as like, went back and watched the tape, but like I know me and Brett have. It was hair-pullingly maddening watching this running game try to work. I'm talking like 2nd and 10 runs for -2, 1st and 10 runs for nothing, 3rd and 8 runs on a draw, 3rd and 13, we call them, what's it called? Give up draws, where we just run draws to Will Shipley on downs that are further than 3rd and 13. And no,
I
like
feel like there was no creativity to the run game either.
there was no creativity.
It was just run straight, and it was either a draw or a dive.
It was terrible.
Right. Quick
No
question.
creativity.
So, because I'm really struggling with how within 8 games it could just go this bad that quickly. There's only 2 differences I can think of. We lost Mekhi Becton, the guard, to the Chargers, and we had a change of offensive coordinator. Was
Yes.
there anything else?
No.
I think it affects us more with the coordinator change, just because of how Nick is.
Was Petula with
Nick kind of
Yeah.
plays back and lets the coordinators do a lot.
Yeah.
And so when we get a coordinator change, it's a whole new regime.
Yeah.
But like,
it's a whole
was
thing.
Petula
It's
with
a
the
whole
Eagles?
new offense. Like, just because it's the same head coach, Nick's just a fucking dude with a cool hat and a cool hoodie in the press conference.
Yeah.
What
I
does
feel
he
like
do?
that's a reflection on the coach then,
What is Nick?
on the head coach.
Well, the thing is, like, I guess we'll get into the KP thing. Kevin Petullo was an Eagles assistant coach. He was actually the pass game coordinator for the 2024 team. And if we recall, the passing game wasn't necessarily amazing in 2024. I think we were 29th in the league in passing yards that year, because we were primarily just a running team. Now, we were good in yards per attempt. We were good in yards per attempt was something that I leaned on. But when he got the job, it was pretty evident early on that like his passing route combinations and his like schemes were very basic. I mean, the meme again, not only was it Saquon up the middle, AJ Brown deep ball, it was a statistical anomaly amount of hitch routes that we ran. And I guess the idea of hitch routes are they're effective against zone defenses because they just allow the quarterback to sit back and hit the open receiver. But, you can't really win an offensive game plan when you're hitting the defense for like 3 yards at a time. And maybe 3 yards at a time. It's just not going to work.
The guys running with the ball.
Yeah. And
I hate a hitch route.
Yeah. Hitch routes were ridiculous. And yeah. And I think that just led to opportunities for our offense to stagnate, because we also did lead the league in 3-and-out percentage. So like we were like one of the worst 3-and-out percentage teams since like the 2005 Browns, which is like shocking to say. But yeah, it was a big change of offensive coordinator. And yes, it was. And I also wanted to say one thing. The offensive line, although appeared healthy, and were starting, they were not healthy. They were absolutely banged up from the year prior, just from the amount of running plays that they had. If you remember in the NFC Championship game and Super Bowl, they were like subbing each other out and like spelling each other, like because they had like lower back issues. I'm talking about Cam Jurgens, Jordan Mailata, and Landon Dickerson. And these guys obviously played hurt for most of, if not all of the year. Landon Dickerson tweaked his, what was it? He hurt like his hip or his leg or something. And he was supposed to have surgery, but he just played through it. And you know what? At the time, I was like, yeah, like, way to go, dude. We need you. Man, honestly, like, he looked like a shell of himself this year. Like, I would have rather someone else been in there. And Cam Jurgens had lower back injuries, and he was hampered. And it was those two dudes who primarily missed blocks, got blown off the line, and it was just terrible. Like, we couldn't get any push. So even though they were healthy, we just had an ineffective line because our guys just weren't technically 100% healthy. They were there, but they weren't really there. You don't believe that? Not buying that?
I'm not buying that.
You're not buying that.
Season. If you're not healthy, they're not going to play you. If they lost a step, they lost a step. It might be time.
I think they got banged up. I think they're banged up.
So
I
you're
think
saying they're going to come back better this year?
Yeah, I do. I really do. I think so.
So what do we think they're banged up from? Maybe like a specific kind of play that they ran much less of this year?
Oh, what are you hinting at, Tanner? You hinting at the tush push? Oh, all right. Well, that's something to really come back to.
Everyone's banged up with hip and back issues.
Wow. That's a good...
Oh, who isn't?
I was considering more of like
what rugby player isn't?
I was considering more of the 400 carries that Saquon got. I think that may have been
Sounds like a Saquon issue.
yeah, or just he was too good. But yeah, I guess we'll just kind of plow through the rest of the season because really from here on out it just gets really like sad. Like that we started 8-2. Yeah, yeah. We got 8-2, and then all of a sudden we just collapsed. Cowboys and Bears were the two of the worst games I'd seen all year. The Cowboys we went up. Yeah, I know. I know. Like saying that out loud just hurts. Like I'm like, whoa. Like the Cowboys game we started like really strong. I think we were up like 21-0, and we ended up losing. And then the Bears game, the Black Friday game, I think they all just ate a ton of turkey, and they just showed up sleepy the next day because it was in Philly. I think they all got to have a good Thanksgiving meal with their family, and they just showed up and got their butts handed to them, dude. Like they on a silver platter. Like it was ridiculous. Like they got their they got out physical, they got out schemed, they got out willed.
The Bears game, right?
Yeah, the Bears. Oh, man, you were just sitting there at Thanksgiving. It was ridiculous. Like no one cared. They were just running down our throats. Like both running backs had 100 yards against us, which I don't think hasn't happened since the 80s.
That's the game where I realized the Bears were like for real. I was like,
yeah, like or the game where I realized we weren't.
A little bit of both.
Probably both. And then the Chargers game, which I thought the Bears game was rock bottom, and then here comes Lady Fate to kick me right in the nads. That Chargers game was definitely rock bottom for me, just because it was
Monday night.
It was the Monday night game where Jalen had 2 turnovers in one play, and then had I think 4 or 5 total turnovers, and then but he still had a chance to win in the end of the game, and he threw a pick at the end of overtime.
I remember that.
So like it was like
late night.
God, it sucked. And these late games always suck when they go bad. But
that is the one plus side about not having a great end of the year, Tanner. It must be nice not having so many primetime games.
Yeah, you have to stay up late. Well, Brett. You know what? Even for Tanner, his primetime games.
I don't care about primetime.
It's good. It's West Coast.
Yeah, his West Coast primetime started at 5.
6:30.
Yeah,
it sucks being a good team, man. Half the year you're sleepy going into work.
I'm sleepy. It's terrible. It's terrible. And then these last 5 games, I just kind of chumped them all together because it's all like a mismatch of blah. Like Raiders don't count. We won, but who cares? Commanders, I think we beat Josh Johnson and we clinched the division, but it was closer than it should have been. The Bills game was a slop bowl, in my opinion.
That was a weird game.
Like it was weird. There was turnovers from like Josh Allen. We played ultra conservative like we always do, so it wasn't even exciting to watch on our end. And then Josh Allen missed a 2-point conversion for the win. Like that's it. That's the game. So
wasn't it like it was a bad throw? Like he had a guy open.
He had a guy open. He just missed him. Like honestly, there's not much more else to say than that. He had a guy open. He missed it. He lost. Like that's it. There wasn't much more to that game. And then the Commanders, and then the last Commanders game, we had a chance at the 2 seed, which I felt was like a lot of people were divided. It was like
so mad when we put the backups in.
It wasn't a guarantee that we got the 2 seed because I think the Bears still needed to lose, and then
week 18.
Yeah, and then all of a sudden the Bears started. Yeah, the Bears started losing. And then all of a sudden, the Commanders started beating us with our what's it called, second stringers, and then we ended up costing us the 2 seed, which
that was a high scoring game, wasn't it?
No, it was not. It was boring. Listen, Tanner, you want to know something about the Eagles? They were boring.
Yeah,
it was boring. Like you know what? Like you can be a winning team, and but. Don't be boring. They were boring. It was just a boring team to watch. It was ultra conservative.
Most of my friends have told me that throughout the year. It's crazy how boring we are and how good our record was.
We're like the Floyd Mayweather of football. Like we win, but it's like jab, 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 and then you win by like decision. Like it's such a un-television friendly, and I'm not even talking about the tush push, which is so funny because usually you hear like them like say, oh, the Eagles are boring with their tush push. I'm not even talking about the tush push is the reason they're boring. They're just a boring team on offense in general. It was sickening. And you know what? I already kind of talked about the 49ers playoff game. It's whatever. The 49ers defense sucked, and we didn't take advantage of it. It's another thing where like, oh, the offense let us down. And, Brett, I was interested in what you said. You said Jalen was someone you weren't upset about last year.
Yeah.
You didn't think you could have played better? Like a little bit.
I mean, yeah, what, 1 or 2 bad games with the offensive pass coordinator he had and the run game he was working with. I mean, his overall stats were, looked beautiful.
I think it was 20. He had a career high in touchdown passes. He had 3,000 yards. I think
And
what
feel like
happened.
he didn't even run the ball as much this year, which I wish.
Yeah. Well, that's
he did.
my next point. There's a huge talking point that Jalen Hurts has been kind of like thrown under the bus by Philly fans, and they've been told that basically he's ultra conservative with the ball. He's afraid to turn the ball over, and the two camps are basically, is this a Nick Sirianni thing?
I love that when you can run the ball.
Yeah, well, Nick Sirianni preaches at team meetings and he says it at press conferences, like more than most coaches. Like, the turnover differential is what determines wins. Apparently, we were like 44-1 in our past 45 games where we won the turnover differential, and of course, the playoff game we won the turnover differential and we still lost. But that was the second game we lost in the past 45. But I think Nick Sirianni, the idea is that he's teaching Jalen Hurts, like, hey, if we just play conservative and we win the turnover battle, we're going to win. So, like, don't take chances because this is our formula for success. And then I think Jalen's just such a good role model, and when it comes to just doing what he's told, because he's been, I guess a good soldier. I don't want to say role model, good soldier. But he's been told at the, he's been heard at the press conferences basically saying, I'm doing what the coordinators are asking me to do. And I think basically what he's been told is, I'm not going to turn this ball over. I'm not going to run the ball because I don't want to get hurt. And a lot of people are taking his conservativeness as selfishness, as I don't want to get hurt. I'm not going to run because I don't want to get myself hurt and cost myself a contract or something. And I think it's more the coaches are telling him, you need to be conservative because it wins games and we need you to be healthy for the playoffs. I don't think Jalen's a selfish person. So I don't believe that.
I think you could be critical of the conservativeness. I didn't even think twice about it being selfish, though. He already got paid. Like, I don't know. Like, I think it's a game plan. I think it's systematic.
Why else would he stop running? Like, he had to be told to stop running?
Yeah, I think it was the coaching. I think he was told not to run the ball as much this year for some stupid reason, because honestly, that may have gotten Saquon going more.
Yeah, absolutely. We've seen Jalen Hurts be an effective runner in this league. And did he look a tad slower this year? Yeah, he does. He's kind of bulking up. He's kind of following that Donovan McNabb career arc where he's kind of getting bulkier and not as fast. But he can still kind of get through and make some people miss and break some tackles. It's not like he's like
good for that one move.
He's got that one Jimmy, But I really hope next year that he returns to being a runner. And I hope that this is something that the coaches allow him to do. And I really hope it's not like a him thing. Because if it truly is a him thing,
it's probably the coaches protecting the asset. Is what y'all are touching on. Since he got paid, they don't want him to get hurt now. Before we pay before you pay the man, it's go for it. Go get killed out there. But now that he's got $100+ million, he's looking at they're looking at paying the man. It's
do you expect his style, at least like before this year, to be the style of like a 35-year-old quarterback?
I thought he'd run more. I definitely look. I took him in 4.11 or was it 4.12? His fantasy stock that I got him in, his fantasy draft that I got him at the 4th round. I expected him to be a runner. I thought he'd get push touchdowns and I thought he'd get rushes. He actually ran half as much in terms of rushing attempts as he did the year prior. Like, this wasn't just like a little decline. This was like a literal halving of his rushing.
I thought it was really cool when we all found out he was working out with Tom Brady and all. Maybe he needs to go work out with someone else.
I don't know.
He got his Brady in him. Maybe we need someone a little runner. Go see Michael Vick.
Yeah.
He can't play till he's 45 at that style, though.
Well, that's true, and that's where all the mobile
do that when you're 45.
Yeah. Yeah, you can't. I think though, in going into next year with the new offensive coordinator with Sean Mannion, I think that they will try to open up this playbook with more under center runs, under center bootlegs, more creativity with crossing routes, motions, all that
Are
good
you
stuff.
excited about him?
I am. I mean, not necessarily the person, but just the scheme he's bringing. I mean, because he's going to bring something different.
It's a
At the
very
end of the day, like
unexciting name.
at the end, yeah, and he's balding. It's not a good look.
Is he?
But oh yeah, not a good look. But but I think he's worked with a lot of good coaches, and you know what, the guy, I don't know if he's a good coach. Again, this is his second year as a head coach. I don't know. And we've done the whole coaching episodes before, so my opinion on him is that we don't know because he's so young. Kellen Moore started in Dallas after as offensive coordinator after his second year in the league. He was kind of in the same position as Sean Mannion at the same age, and he ended up having the top scoring offense in the NFL. So it's not impossible that someone this young has success this early.
I didn't even like Kellen when we hired him.
I did. I just knew because he had a good career in Dallas and LA. I kind of liked what he brought to the table. He had more. He had more explosion than Brian Johnson. We just seem to be like going every other year with like crap offensive coordinators to good offensive coordinators.
It's every other one.
So it's literally every other year.
Either fire him or they get a job.
Well, get ready. Brian Johnson also joined the Rams staff today too.
No, are you serious?
Yeah.
No, that's not a good look for us. The Rams want him. Oh,
so he'll be a head coach next year.
Oh, dang, and they'll wow, okay. So yeah, so I mean, I guess moving forward, this year I kind of summed it up as just like inconsistency, and the offense really just ended up killing this team in terms of like what we could do with our potential. The defense, I think, was a Super Bowl defense. It just was. I mean, we didn't talk much about the defense on my rundown.
I say we talk about the defense because there was a lot to like.
Dude, they were great. They were great. You want to talk about studs? Quinyon Mitchell, all-pro. Cooper DeJean, all-pro. Jalix Hunt led our team in interceptions and sacks. And he was like a great player, young ascending player. Moro Ojomo actually played better this year than Milton Williams did the year last year that got him $100 million. And he's our next up-and-coming rotational DN or defensive tackle. Jordan Davis, breakout year, leader, amazing player, ended up he lost some weight, started hitting the treadmill, out on the field all the time, making plays. Jalen Carter, spit on decks. Kind of sucks, though. Well, honestly, Jalen Carter was probably, like, in my opinion, a little underwhelming. Like, he wasn't as good as he was the year before, and he didn't have as many sacks. And honestly, I don't think he was really as motivated as he was the year before. But he didn't just seem to have any splash plays. He didn't really jump out to me. And I think Jordan Davis had a better year, honestly, in terms of like overall. And there are some players
you haven't mentioned.
Yeah. Oh, no,
I do want to talk about Jalen Carter long term, though.
Yeah. Let's see. Any other guys I'm missing? I got Zach Bond. Zach Bond. I wrote he plateaued on the little notes. I wrote that he plateaued. He didn't have like not in a bad way, but like in terms of like did he do better or worse than the year prior? He did the same. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You can't do better than what he did in 2024. I think he did the exact same.
Then.
What?
He was great then.
He was great. That's what I'm saying. He did good. That's what I'm saying. I say he did better. He did great. He was great. Jahad Campbell was a good first-round pick. He got supplanted by Nakobe Dean because surprisingly, Nakobe Dean came back from that injury as a stud. Like he was, Brett. How many times this year did we see Nakobe Dean go through the line, blow up a running back, and get a sack on the same play? He would do it like almost like every other game. Like it was insane. He was an incredible
blitzer. Like the Mario Rocket coming at you.
That's what it. No, seriously, that's what it looked like. That dude was like an insane missile coming from the linebacking core. It was great. He played so well. We benched our first round pick, and Jahad Campbell was playing so well. I think he was the top rated PFF rookie over 5 weeks before he got benched. So it's not even though he was playing bad. Nakobe Dean just played amazing.
Play was amazing.
It was great. It was great. Makuba was good, and then I think he broke his ankle. Makuba broke his ankle because I think was it Reed or some other safety like misplayed a ball, and I think he hurt himself by doing something. But he played well.
He
was fine. Rusher. He is serviceable, and yeah, I think at this point we do need a
Graham had to come back. That was a little sad.
That was sad. He played well though, for what he was. Okay. For what he was. Yeah, he was fine.
Played
He played, he played. But look, when you're coming out of retirement, you can't expect more than 10 snaps a game.
Right.
So I mean, it is what it is at that point. Our free agent signings, we kind of really didn't get a chance to talk about them, but our free agent signings were kind of like horrible, honestly. Tanner, could you run down? I don't have the thing pulled up. Could you run down our free agent signings real quick that we made? Because honestly, that's kind of interesting that we went over the rookies and we didn't really talk about who we signed because it was a really subpar free agent class, very unhowie like.
Well, okay, so the subtractions, there was three main guys. There was Mekhi Becton, Josh Sweat, and Milton Williams. I thought actually the defense would probably take a step back. I
A
mean,
lot of
that's a
people
lot of
did.
production.
A lot
That's
of
a lot
people
of
did.
production and snaps from Josh Sweat and Milton Williams. I mean, like you guys were saying, the Milton Williams replacement kind of stepped up and maybe been better.
Yeah,
Um, Nolan Smith, I don't know. I mean, I guess he'd be the natural replacement for Josh Sweat. Y'all probably know better than me if
he was
he
mid.
actually been good or not.
He was mid. He was honestly.
We had to trade for Jalen Phillips.
Yes, that's the answer to that
Okay.
question.
Yeah.
Even Jalen
So
Phillips was okay.
yeah. And then addition wise, I mean, you signed a handful of guys. You extended Saquon, extended Zach Bond. Um, I don't really remember AJ Dillon really doing much this year for you guys.
AJ Dillon got in early in the year as like a rotational guy, because Will Shipley hurt himself earlier in the year, and he didn't really.
Yeah, he got screwed because we traded for Tank.
Yeah, that's basically what happened.
Okay.
Buried.
But I mean, there really wasn't this big signing. But I mean, you're coming off a Super Bowl. Typically, you lose guys. I mean, that makes sense to me.
The Howie
wasn't really a
strategy,
big signing.
the Howie strategy to tackle the lack of edge rush was I'm gonna buy a bunch of lottery tickets and hope one of them pans out. We signed Josh Uche, we signed Aziz Ojolari, and we tried to sign. We did sign Zadarius Smith out of retirement, and Zadarius Smith retired after 4 weeks. And sadly, he was our most consistent pass rusher. I was like, well, Zadarius still's got it. And all of a sudden, it's like, yeah, Zadarius retired. It's like, what? He just came out of retirement. We need him. Aziz Ojolari was very forgettable, and Uche was very forgettable as well. The lottery ticket picks that worked in 2024, like Zach Bond, he was a lottery ticket. We didn't know he was going to be good. He was just some guy we got on the third week of free agency, and then he ended up being a stud. Zach Bond. These picks that Howie bought low on worked really well in 2024, and it just didn't work out the same in 2025. Those guys just kind of played to what they were expected to play as, and it really led to us having to trade for Jalen Phillips. And yeah, it was a third-round pick, and I feel like it becomes a yearly thing. We just keep throwing third-round picks at older edge rushers and hoping they pan out.
I think he's going to sign a big enough deal. You're probably going to recoup that third.
I hope so. I mean, Brett, were you blown away by Jalen Phillips? Would you be bummed if he left?
No. I mean, the first 2 weeks it was exciting because I think he made a play or two.
Yeah.
And, I mean, I wouldn't be all that hurt. I mean, what is he? 27.
So yeah, he's younger.
Relatively young.
Is he?
And Tanner, you have an interesting insight on Jalen Phillips. What do you know about Jalen Phillips in terms of his career?
Jalen Phillips, Tanner?
So if you look up free agent rankings, I see him in the top 5 everywhere.
Really?
You guys seemed a little underwhelmed with him, nice. And it sounds like he could leave and y'all wouldn't really notice. But maybe that says more about the actual free agent class. I think teams are getting really good at re-signing their guys, which will inherently just make a free agent class not as strong. But no, I mean, that's interesting to hear you guys say he was kind of underwhelming.
Well, Jalen Phillips was a guy who, coming out of college, had huge injury concerns. And didn't he medically retire? Yeah, he medically retired. And then he came back, and then he had a good couple of years under Vic Fangio, and then he got hurt. And then he came back and played well for a little bit, and then we traded for him. So he was coming off a lot of injuries. Yeah, and he graded out. Yeah, he graded out well PFF wise in terms of just how he was playing with his assignments, but he didn't make as many splash plays as I was hoping. Not as many pressures or sacks or strip sacks or anything like that. He just didn't really stand out there. No, he wasn't really standing out, and that was kind of what my takeaway was. I was kind of hoping that with Jalen Carter playing opposite, he'd be able to eat and, feast on some right tackles, but he just kind of was around. And you know what? Maybe honestly, just him being there for the second half of the season and the second half of the season being like a torture chamber for us. I'm kind of like conflating the two. Like, yeah, we sucked at the end of the year, and Jalen Phillips was there. Yeah, you know, like we don't need him. We sucked. You know, but get him out.
The reason.
He's the reason. No, but I do think he is young and talented enough because he has a lot of raw talent, and I think a team's going to be like, hey, look, he's young. He's got wheels. No, he's young. No, he's young. He's got talent, and someone will probably throw north of 20 million at him, and we'll probably recoup some sort of comp pick, which I think was how he's planned all along. Honestly, that seems to be his MO, is like take a chance on those guys and get comp picks in return, because it could just be a 4th or 3rd round pick, and we end up maybe just losing some draft spots. So that could work out.
I mean, it's a pretty minimal. I mean, you guys were in a Super Bowl win now mode, so like you're not even risking a 3rd round pick because you know you're going to recoup it back in one way or another. So I don't know, when you're in win now,
if it works, it works.
Who cares if essentially it's just a downgrade that you push out into the future. It's not like, oh, that was a waste of a 3rd. So I don't know. I don't think I can blame Howie for that.
Yeah, no, I mean, expectations are kind of tempered for this year for offseason for Howie, just because, I mean, I'm kind of noticing this trend that like the cap that we've kind of pushed down the road with basically creating our cap on credit card lines, you know, just extending out our our cap hits further down the line. They all set to basically create a big time bomb on 2029. I've watched a couple of videos on this. Howie structured all these cap hits to line up at the exact same year. And it's the exact same year that the NFL is going to redo their TV license deal, which is going to generate a lot more revenue for the NFL and hence increasing the cap a ton. So he's actually really saw that out ahead. So yes, we'll have a ton of cap hit in 2029, but he expects that cap space to increase proportionally. So it won't be as bad. He'll still be able to operate. But until 2029, we're kind of like on pins and needles and like buying at the bargain basement right now, which kind of sucks, because we're just kind of waiting for that cap to kind of just explode in 3 years. But Howie's smart and I trust him. It's just we don't really have a lot in store for this offseason because we just don't have the financial capabilities of doing so. Hopefully we re-sign people and get a couple of the 4 free agents. There's been 4 that have really been talked about. Reed Blankenship,
can't lose him.
Nakobe Dean,
can't lose him.
Jalen Phillips.
He can go.
And Dallas Goedert. So those are the 4. So I'm going to throw this out to you guys.
You guys can have them like Hurts.
Of those four, okay, and I want you to consider the cost it takes to bring them back as well with this, not just who's the best player. All right, consider we have limited cap. If you were to pick 2 players, who would you bring back out of Goddard, out of Blankenship, out of Nakobe Dean, and out of who was the last one, Jalen Phillips? Who would be your 2 that you would keep and 2 that you would get rid of? Any of you guys can start.
I want Dean and I want Blankenship. Goddard, we can get a tight end. Like, I mean, I feel like, yeah, it's not going to be the same quality as Goddard. I've grown to love him over the years. Not as much as Ertz, but good guy, good quality. When he's out there, he's reliable. But
he catches it.
Yeah, that's something Ertz never did, and he taught me that was possible in an Eagles jersey. But you know, who knows? I feel like Howie can get us another tight end somewhere, and I mean, I feel like Reed Blankenship. He's solid. Him and Nakobe are both just solid players on that defense that are staples. And if we lose them, oof.
So you're saying Dean and Blankenship are your guys?
Yeah.
Okay, I actually like that because it's pretty cost effective. I mean, those 2 positions aren't necessarily going to hit you in the wallet. And I do worry about those 2 players leaving and going to Dallas because Christian Parker, our former defensive backs coach, is now the defensive coordinator of Dallas. Oh, no. And they also need defensive talent bad because they've been hemorrhaging young talent. I'm
Reed Blankenship in a Cowboys uniform.
Yes,
I know. So I think those 2 would be the most cost effective. I think Jalen Phillips would cost a ton. And I honestly think Dallas Goedert would probably cost a lot too. So I think those I think I kind of line up with yours. Those two. Now they're not the two best players of those four, I don't think,
No.
but I think they're the two that make the
I
most
think
impact.
Dallas, what is he? He probably still has 4 good years at least.
I think he's serviceable for at least 2 or 3 more years before he kind of transcends into that
He's good for another contract.
Yeah. So Tanner, what do you see as an outsider considering the cap ramifications and the players that I listed?
This is no fun, but literally, you guys took all my points.
Oh,
Yeah, I was gonna say I like Reed Blankenship because he's not gonna cost top of the market. Our safeties are already suppressed in terms of what they get paid, anyways. Probably could get him at like a somewhat team friendly deal, maybe. 'Cause
six,
I'm sure
seven
there's like
million.
a comfort with him. I mean, why would he? I understand there'd be comfort in Dallas, and he would look good in a Cowboys uniform. I can just see it, but I would. I just don't think he's gonna like cripple your cap space. Jacoby Dean, it maybe I just don't appreciate him as much, but just based on what you guys are saying, like you notice his presence.
He's a leader, dude. Like honestly,
Yeah.
like he like remember now we're the Philadelphia Bulldogs, so like we have a bunch of
Oh yeah,
Bulldogs on
you can't
defense,
break him up.
and Nakobe Dean.
Dog.
You know what's so funny about that? Like you wonder like who like the leader of those Georgia Bulldogs are. It's actually Dean. Nakobe is their
Yeah.
leader. Like Nakobe is the one who actually they all look up to, and that's crazy because like you could argue he might be like the second
Yeah, you think
least
it'd be
talented
JD.
guy. Yeah, like he's very very looked up to by everyone from that cohort in the Eagles locker room. So he is their leader, even if he's not the most physically impressive or like the most talented player. He is their leader because I think it goes back to the college days when he was like the like the defensive player of the year type award winner. Like he was the stud that led that defense, and it's kind of just taken to the NFL. Like everyone feels the same way about him, and I don't think you can just cut leadership like that. Like ever since not Quentin. Ever since Malcolm Jenkins left, we've been kind of looking for we've been kind of looking for that like captain on defense, and I think this is an opportunity for him to kind of take that mantle of a captain. Now, I hope he stays, but that kind of leads into another issue. We drafted a first round linebacker, and we signed Zach Bond, and the NFL exclusively runs nickel, which is two linebackers like 70 to 80% of the time nowadays because of how often teams go 3 wide. What does that mean for Jahad Campbell? He didn't play bad. I don't know what you saw, Brett, but I liked Jahad Campbell a lot. He played well. Like, what do we do? Like if you sign 2 of those linebackers in front of him, you're losing that flexibility of having a cheap linebacker on a cost-effective deal. Do you just rotate him out? I mean, do you just rotate him out and just put in Nakobe during blitzes and just play Jahad on pass coverage? Like, I don't know what I guess you just do there if you only have 2 linebacker spots.
I mean, you got to think about Madden.
What would you do? Put on that Madden hat.
You got to trade them. See which one costs.
No,
trade
it. Oh man,
get your
I
edge
didn't go that way. Oh, that's ruthless.
Then trade one of them.
I didn't expect. No, you don't.
You pull it up and see.
Oh, we wouldn't trade Zach Bond, would we? We don't think we trade.
I don't think it would be smart cap management to trade.
Which one
Zach
out of the
Bond.
3? Who's the most trade friendly?
Well, okay, let me ask you this though: hasn't Nakobe Dean struggled with staying healthy?
Yes, he has. He's actually
I
missed.
wouldn't go look before
Yes.
he really proves that he can stay healthy or that he can avoid injuries. I wouldn't go borrowing any kind of concerns of how we're going to play all 3 of these guys. I don't
That's
know.
a good point.
I say we just bring.
Really
I mean, I'm not saying like I said we should bring back Nakobe Dean, but I say we worry about the issue of how we keep 3 of them out there.
That's a good
kind of in the
point.
future.
He is super inconsistent with his health.
You have a lot of faith that draft picks just because he was a first round pick, that you have a lot of faith that they'll actually work out. Maybe I'm a Cardinals fan and I'm just always burned by him, but I don't know.
I wouldn't listen. I wouldn't say that I'm. Listen, if a guy's not impressing me, I'll say John Campbell looked impressive. I mean, he was very much an athletic freak out there. I mean, he was making plays on just sheer instinct and athleticism, and he was still keeping up with like some of the best tight ends in coverage and grading out coverage wise as some of the best linebackers in the league. So this dude was balling out on just sheer instinct of the position. Like he just learned how to play linebacker, I think like 2 years ago, because he was an edge linebacker, edge rusher at Alabama. So he's still learning the position, and he played well. So I'm high on Jahad Campbell. I really am. it was just sad to see his playing time just get cut so much. I think towards the end of the year last year, he had like 2 or 3 snaps, like at the end of each game. Like he had nothing. I see it on your head.
Okay, I got a question for you. So, if you see the Josh Sweat / Jalen Phillips role, a lot of snaps are opening up for that. Can Jahad Campbell fill a lot of those snaps,
No,
or is that too much?
no. So we, one of our reporters, ESP, Elliot Shore Parks, he was very adamant that the Eagles drafted him to eventually move to edge, and he got clowned for that. He's like, he's not an edge, he's a linebacker, and he was like, hey, I'm just saying, they wouldn't do it if we have an opening at edge. We did try blitzing him. He's raw, man. Like, I know he won as an edge rusher in college based on his athleticism. He didn't have any like pass rushing moves. He wasn't technically sound. He was just bigger, faster, stronger, and that's how he won on the edge in college. And it showed at the NFL level when he tried to blitz.
Coachable.
Yeah, he got like juked by, I think he blitzed and Josh Johnson made a miss in the open field, like 41-year-old Josh Johnson. He had him dead to rights, and Josh Johnson just went and then like got by him real quick. So like he has a lot to learn from
Josh Johnson.
Yeah, 18 teams Josh Johnson, and he got like kind of like embarrassed on that play. So he's all physicality, all instinct, and he just needs to kind of learn and get coached up, which I hope Vic Fangio stays long enough to make that happen, because let's be honest, it's like every year with that guy now apparently. But yeah. Oh, hold up. I got to do a big freeze right now. Jeff Stoutland. Why have we not brought this up? Jeff Stoutland left.
He sucks.
This is a huge deal.
Yeah, exactly.
This is a huge deal.
It is a huge deal. There you go, Tanner. It is a huge deal. We're doing the Eagles pod, and we're not bringing up the fact that our legendary offensive line coach left over what basically amounted to I would say coaching politics and being upset with how the season went. If you weren't sure or have heard, Jeff Stoutland left because he was always the run game coordinator for like the past 4 or 5 years, as well as the offensive line coach. And when Nick Sirianni came to him in the middle of the season, because me and Brett remember the running game sucked, Nick Sirianni said, hey, look, like I got to take this from you. Like this isn't working. And Jeff Stoutland got really upset. And I get it. I mean, the dude's a Hall of Fame coach. He's coached he'll probably coach 4 or 5 Hall of Famers by the time he's done. A lot of which were like late round draft picks, and he developed into Hall of Famers. One of them being a rugby player who never played football, and he's going to make him into a potential Hall of Famer. So when when you see Brett was saying like, who's this Nick Sirianni guy? What the hell does he do? Nick Sirianni walks up to him and says, we can't have you be the run game coordinator anymore. He got a little pissed off. And by the end of the year, he, found out that we were going to a new offensive coordinator who runs different running schemes. And Jeff Stoutland said, I don't want to make it work. This is how I run my running game. I don't want to, kind of merge the Shanahan, McVay running style, which is different, into whatever he's running. I don't want to work with that. If he's going to bring in his own guys or not really work with me, I'm just going to leave. That was it. That's how a legend leaves. Just that quick. Like, I don't want to work with the new guy. All right, I'm out. Like that was it. So
we talked about the AJ Brown, the up down thing. When one guy's production went up and the other guys went down. Isn't that about the same time that Stoutland lost his run game coordinator title?
Yes, it was. It was around the middle of the year, and I think the transition happened.
2 separate events, or were they related?
I think they just happened. I don't think they're related. I just think they're unfortunately that they happen near each other. And the shift that I noticed, and Brett, you can jump in if you didn't see this, but I noticed a lot of under center runs from middle of the year on. And they weren't necessarily like telegraphed well, because it was very clear if they were under center, they were going to run. Because honestly, I don't think they have many under center pass plays. No. So it really told whoever was like defending that, oh, they're running the ball a lot more under center. They're under center. Here comes a run. Yeah. So that was kind of like the only way. And they did a lot of like jumbo packages where like They would, bring in an extra lineman because our tight ends were actually like worst in the league in like run blocking. We kept assigning Grant Calcaterra to be our run blocking second tight end, and he rated as the worst run blocking tight end out of like 120 tight ends. So, but we kept like dumbfoundingly kept putting him out there as like the second like tight end to block, and the backside rusher would come out and get Saquon like 8 out of 10 times. I felt like as I was watching. So it was just like ineptitude from like I would say Howie from not getting a tight end that could block better, and the coaches for continuously putting out like a poor run blocking tight end when they knew that it wasn't working. So it all just collapsed from multiple angles on this offense. And I think that's when Jeff Stoutland kind of threw his hands up and said, whatever, nerds, do whatever you want. I'm out after this year.
I think it's the biggest concern I have with Sean Mannion. Like, I don't know. I struggle with if you can't make Stoutland work, I think you're the issue.
I wonder if Mannion even had the call to say, I want Stoutland back, or if like the fact
I think it's a Siri call.
I think Siri. I think he said, "Hey, look, we're bringing in this new young guy," and Stoutland just said, "I'm out." Like
You're not making me like Sirianni, and I was already pretty critical of him.
I think Sirianni has a lot more power about coaching personnel than what we consider. I think.
Well, I mean, he is the head coach. I struggle with being that dependent on. We have Super Bowl years when we have good coordinators, and when we have bad coordinators, we have bad years. I struggle with like that. There's a lot of dependency on that.
I think there'd be a lot of people in Philadelphia that would agree with you, Tanner. I don't think Nick Sirianni is some universally loved head coach. I definitely think it's a divisive situation with Nick Sirianni. In fact, I mean, I've seen reports saying that like, and again, this isn't from Philadelphia. This is like some national bozos like, Nick Sirianni's the second most coach on the hot seat right now. And I'm like, we just won a Super Bowl. But
I wasn't going to be surprised if we fired him after that playoff loss.
Really? Wow. You wouldn't have been surprised?
No.
Doug Peterson.
Yeah, exactly. We got rid of Doug for less.
Well,
Chip Kelly had 2 10-win seasons. He got fired after going 7-8.
Here's the difference.
We'll pull that. We'll pull the rug out in a heartbeat.
So, Brett, interestingly enough, here's the difference between Doug Peterson and Nick Sirianni's situation, because they were in very similar situations.
They were.
Howie Roseman went to Doug Peterson after 2020 and said, look, dude, you keep hiring crappy offensive coordinators. Either we take the reins and choose your coordinator, or you're gone. And Doug said, well, I like Press Taylor. Press Taylor he's my guy. And Doug said he wouldn't let go of Press Taylor or his offensive staff. And Howie Roseman said, all right, well, bye. And that's why he fired him. Like, that was literally point blank the reason he got fired after that poor 2020 season. Nick Sirianni, on the other hand, loves licking the boots of Howie Roseman, metaphorically, obviously. Like he when Sirianni comes to him and says, "We need you to do X, Y, Z," Nick's like, "Yeah, oh yeah, we'll do it, yeah, please. What do you need me to do?" Like
I'll put up a positivity bunny, no problem.
Yeah, like he doesn't mind letting go of his staff if Howie says so. I don't know what that says about him. I don't know what that says about Doug. I don't know what the smart move is.
It's not very Philly.
He's a doofus.
He's not a doofus. I like Nick Sirianni. Look, I see a little bit of myself in Nick Sirianni personally, okay?
He's a doofus.
I do, just a little. There you go. Of course. And you know what? Like, it's he couldn't have made a worse impression on me on his first press conference. You want to talk about a light bulb moment or a flashbulb moment? That initial press conference of Nick Sirianni, which we still had Carson Wentz, things were going downhill fast. And this yammering dumbass goes up here and goes, the first thing we're going to do is have systems in place. We can't have effective plays without our systems. We're going to have, smart players. And if you less thinking equals talent take over. And, we're going to have systems in place that are easy to learn, but hard for the defense playing us to understand. And he said it in that cadence where he was just like overwhelmed by the moment. And I was like, dear God, this is our
so nervous.
Like, this is our coach. Like, this is our guy. Like, this is our coach. I didn't think I didn't think he'd last a year. And here he is. He's a CEO head coach. And I think the only thing that will like dislodge him from like being the coach is just consecutive poor years. He's just going to have to really hit rock bottom. Like
what
Doug
other
Peterson.
coaches in the league our CEO head coaches?
Dan Campbell, Mike Vrabel, I think, because I don't think they call plays.
Would you say
John.
I feel like Dan's heavily involved in the defense.
No, he's actually no. He is like quintessential, just leader of men, CEO guy.
Huh.
And John
I'd rather
Harbaugh.
have him than Nick.
John Harbaugh. Well, it's funny because Dan Campbell actually took the reins from the Ben Johnson replacement and then said, "I'm going to call plays," and they just started tanking after that. It didn't work. They gave the ball to Jahmyr Gibbs like every play, and like he got great fantasy numbers, but like all he had was throw to Amon-Ra St. Brown and run to Jahmyr Gibbs. Like those were his 2 plays, and it cratered. Yeah, it's interesting to see how Nick Sirianni and Doug Peterson's careers have gone in different ways, because Doug is very loyal to his staff, and Nick is like, "Hey, man, I'm out for my own here. I'm going to keep my job." I see how he just fired a Super Bowl head coach. What do you think I'm going to like say? Like, yeah, I want to keep Kevin. I saw him fire Doug 3 years ago or 4 years ago. I'm not doing that. So, yeah, that's kind of the vibe I get from Nick. He's just going to hold on for dear life. So,
on the hot seat.
Yeah, on the hot seat. But
as every Eagles coach should be.
Yeah, until the end of time.
This is a city that booed the team at halftime in week 1 after winning a Super Bowl.
We looked like crap.
Never forget that.
No, we look like crap. Honestly, we look like crap.
Well, you did, but you didn't give them any like. We don't care with it. Literally, the last game before that was a Super Bowl.
Yeah. So
and they're like, I don't care. I don't care that you scored 41 points in a Super Bowl against Tom Brady. This sucked. This is not good enough. Fix it.
Look, it was rainy. There was a delayed game because there was a lightning storm, which was funny enough because there was another lightning storm, which is so weird that both Super Bowl championships, the opening night was delayed somehow in some facet by weather.
Get it done.
But yeah, oh yeah. But so that was the reason why. And then we were just playing like crap. Like we had no offense, and the Falcons weren't playing well. It was just a boring game, and we booed them. So I don't regret it. I was upset. I remember watching the game. I was upset.
I booed him.
I booed him. I booed him. No. So yeah, I guess we did a good job. Kind of breaking down the birds this year. We'll probably do like once the offseason kind of gets going, and we'll do like free agent previews and draft previews. We'll probably do like a similar thing to be like, what do we want for next year type pod. But I guess this was a good obituary. We kind of hit the nail on the head as to why things kind of derailed, starting from the first game of the season to the last game of the season. And as for what I expect next year, double-digit wins, NFC East champion. We'll see what happens in the playoffs. That's kind of where I'm at right now. Brett, where do you kind of see us for next year?
It's a little scary. I'm not gonna lie.
Oh, you're scared. Ooh, a little scary. I say at least 11 wins.
This is kind of my hot take, man. Commanders, Jaden Daniels back healthy. Jackson Dart and Cam Scatterbo. That's a dangerous little duo. And Dak.
Like neighbors. We mentioned
Are we coming in 4th?
Our division just went from worst to very tough. I'd say so. I mean, especially when it comes to how we're going to play them. Maybe not to the rest of the NFL, but we don't play our division all that well.
Yeah.
And
we split against Dallas, and then we'll see.
Yeah, like my hot take is I could see us under 10 wins.
Under 10 wins. Wow, better cash that in now.
I think that's on the table too.
I could see it.
I think you could argue every team got
going
to get better.
I could see us going.
You don't know Mannion. You don't know anyone they brought. What do you mean you don't know Mannion? I don't know Mannion.
I don't know this guy.
I don't know the guy.
I hope he's just renting an apartment.
We're not going to be making free agent moves. That tells you the offensive line's not getting any better. We're looking at unless Howie can pull a draft out of his ass like he did a couple years ago. I mean, I don't know.
I think that's fair.
I don't know if I'm making any Super Bowl tickets this year for the Eagles like I have in years past.
I think we'll win the NFC East pretty easily.
Ooh, write that down.
Pretty easily. Mark that down. I'm not too worried about the Eagles next year. We'll regroup. We'll get healthy.
Remember Jaden Daniels' rookie year?
Yeah, and I also know he's like 5'10" and like 160 pounds. I don't know if he's going to necessarily play a lot of games for the rest of his career. Um, and the Commanders, to be real and frank with you, are made up of exclusively veterans who are now leaving the team.
They're like
Like
the
that,
oldest team in the league.
they were the oldest team. They had a good year in 2024 because they had a lot of lucky Hail Mary type crazy plays with Jaden Daniels magic, and it was a very veteran laden team that now are basically on expiring contracts or their bodies are breaking down. And they didn't really they did that because they didn't have youth. They did that because they didn't have like good players beneath them or behind them. I don't think the Commanders are coming back. Like unless Jane Daniels like comes back healthy and they like go get some players in free agency, which I think they have some cap. So I think that might actually happen. And you know what, the Giants, I'll believe it when I see it. I'll believe it when I see it.
It's all about Jackson Dart. However you feel
It
about
really
him is how well they'll do because
like,
they have a good roster around him.
Do they?
I think they have a lot of the positions that that it takes. Like they got a left tackle, they got edge rushers, got some good receivers. Like they got positions where it matters. I just don't think they've had a quarterback.
So you think they're a quarterback away, and you're just
Yes.
hoping, and you're just thinking this is the quarterback that works out.
Well, it's who they have.
Well, I don't know. I think the Giants.
What I'm saying is, like in the context of the division,
It's not a
I think
bad
you could
one,
argue everyone's getting better, but the Eagles.
My number one target will always be the Cowboys. I think the Cowboys are still the second best team in that division. I don't think honestly the other two are relatively close yet, unless again Jackson Dart takes that big step forward, which he could. I mean, he could. We'll see how Matt Nagy's offense works well with the Giants. I don't really think he's a super inspiring hire at OC, so we'll see if he can kind of do some magic with him. But I'll leave you with the Matt Nagy thing, as I learned the other day. Patrick Mahomes' two worst years as a quarterback have come with Matt Nagy. Before then, he was like really like hitting like 40 touchdowns a year.
Oh.
So I don't think like if you can't let Matt Nagy take the reins of this. Honestly, I would have trusted Daboll more with Jackson Dart than Matt Nagy, but we'll see. Maybe it turns out well for them. But I'm not the biggest buyer in the Giants. I just don't see it. I can't. I don't think they're going to be good. I think they may get 7 or 8 wins, like tops.
Ooh.
You know what they will be? You know what they'll be? They'll be the Panthers this year. They'll be the Panthers. They'll be the Panthers this year. Hey, the Panthers won the division and they were under 500. Like, I mean, that's a 7 or 8 wins. Panthers are about 7 or 8 wins. They just won't be in a division that will win the division with 8 wins. But they'll be about as good as the Panthers.
Garrett will probably like that.
Yeah, I think he'll be. Yeah, I think he'll like that. I think he'll be happy with that.
So what's the line have to be for you to take the over?
For the win-loss?
Yeah.
For the Giants?
What
Or the Eagles?
Yeah.
Oh.
For the Giants.
Well, I think
You're a hater. How
if
low does it have to be for you to take the over?
5.5.
Wow.
Because that's going to look silly when they win 12.
When they're not winning 12. Oh my god. The Giants winning 12 games?
Yes. I think they could.
No. See, I was about to make a bet right now, but I didn't want to do that.
I'll take the over on 5.5.
No, see, I was gonna say something.
Tell me what I can and can't do.
I think y'all can meet somewhere on this bet. Y'all are pretty far off here.
No, see, well, no, I say they'll be over.
All of a sudden, the Giants got pretty good once you said 5.5. Oh,
Well,
but you think they're gonna win?
8?
They're not gonna win
8.5.
What? Oh, I said 8. How much did I say? I said 7 or 8 wins. So my line is 7.5.
I'll take the over.
Wow, me too. I think I'll win 8.
Wow, me too.
All right, so
real hard stuff on here, folks.
I know we love to embrace debate. All right, so I guess that kind of wraps up our the Eagles portion. Unless there's anything that anyone wants to throw out there and talk about, was there anything I missed? Anything we missed as a conversation about the 2025 Eagles? Can we put them in the ground? Can we bury this bird?
We suck.
I brought the right guy on.
Cardinals had a better season.
My God, we suck. Thanks.
Go Birds. We suck.
Go Birds. Oh, all right. You know what? All right. How about this? Okay. All right. Before we flip it to extra point, I got one more thing. An AJ Brown, because we kind of touched on the AJ Brown thing. It seems like we're both kind of on the board of like, getting rid of him. So let's talk trade comp real quick. What would you accept for AJ Brown? Over, under, anything. Wow.
No, I'm kidding. Let me hear what you got.
Okay, so if someone comes to you and says, "I will give you a second round pick," yes or no?
Yeah.
Late second. So I would say no. I would say no on the late
fifth.
I would say no on a late second. Tanner, would you take that deal? Late second.
A late second?
And we're just gonna assume the cap stuff. I know the cap makes it difficult, but we're just gonna straight up comp, like straight up player for comp. Would you take that?
I mean, yeah, I think he'd be worth it. I think given his age and what he's done and what he's going to do for you in the future, I think you should take a second.
What he's gonna do?
See, I was kind of hoping.
At the end of the day, like, who cares what he's done? Like, I'm not trading for that.
And Brett, you said yes, right?
I said no.
Okay, good. So now we can do this. All right.
Wait, because you'd want more.
Yes,
I need that to be a higher pick.
So what about a second that could turn into a first based on if he hits 1,000 yards?
Yes.
Tanner? Well, I think you just said
yes.
yes.
He accepted a second.
100%.
Well, yeah, you already said okay. All right, cool.
I would take.
No,
it with that.
I don't. I want. It has to be a second. If it goes to a first, I am out.
So Brett, Brett, the assumption with that would be that it's not in this year's draft; it would be in next year's draft. Would you mind waiting a whole extra year for that potential?
I'll take that.
Okay, so you don't mind if it's not this year's draft. Okay, so that was what I was going to say. Would you take a next year's first? But I guess if you're taking that, you would already take that. Okay.
Definitely taking next year's first over a late second.
I think me and Brett are aligned here. I would start at a second round pick. I think there's going to be enough teams, the Baltimore Ravens, the Bills, the Patriots, the Chiefs. There's going to be a lot of needy wide receiver, needy AFC teams that we could play off of each other and say, like, look, you want AJ Brown? Well, they could absolutely leverage this and get, assuming Howie can work the cap, which maybe not. I think Howie's in a position to make these teams really like one up each other. So I don't think that a second round pick would be the best asset. I think we can absolutely be shooting for a first. Now, if the market was depressed and there weren't teams that were wanting AJ Brown and weren't gunning at each other to get those like wide receivers, I think we wouldn't get it. Now, what I'm worried about is like, am I overvaluing AJ Brown? Is he really just
are weird?
Yeah, is he just like Amari Cooper tier, and we're just like, yeah, first and second, then he goes for like a fourth?
Those guys you'll randomly think this guy's a stud, and it's like fourth round pick he got traded for.
Yeah, like DK Metcalf, Tanner. What did DK go for?
Second.
He went for a second. I think it wasn't not just a second. I don't think there was even change on that. It may have just been a second trade, and if there was, it would have been like a fifth or something.
I feel like that would be a very similar comp to what the trade would look like. I think AJ would be a little bit better. So I think that's kind of where
DK goes for a playoff team second.
Yeah,
the Steelers went to the playoffs. Late second. We're now comparing him to DK.
Well, no, what I'm saying is I think AJ Brown brings more to the table, and I think there's a leverage opportunity between teams that are going to be.
I think he brings less to the table than DK.
Oh, you guys! Sounds like you guys never had DK Metcalf on your fantasy teams for the past 2 years.
No, I think DK came with a
that's
big
not a result of DK.
DK came with a new contract.
Oh, listen, guys, DK was washed. He's washed. I can't believe I'm. Listen, I'm not the biggest AJ Brown fan, and I even think AJ Brown took a step back this year.
He didn't even lead his team in receiving yards this year.
He didn't.
Fact.
He led his team in.
You want a conditional first for someone else's wide receiver too?
I know.
You are one of the cheapest people I know.
You already knew that. Yeah, so that's kind of where I'm at with the AJ Brown trade comp. I would be very disappointed if it was the third or last. Like, I'd be like sad. like not that like, because honestly at this point I kind of think it's addition by subtraction with AJ Brown. I don't think it's at the point where I'm like, just get him off the team. Like, I want something.
Well, I'm
But
afraid if that's the case, then the compensation back's not going to matter. My understanding with the contract is, as it's currently constructed, he ain't getting traded.
oh, he's getting
If
traded.
if there wants to be a restructure or something to ease the pain from AJ Brown's side, then maybe. But until that happens, my understanding is nothing's happening this year.
I think it's happening. I'm just, I'm just,
All right, book it.
I'm just hoping. All right, let's move on to the extra point.
The extra point.
Did you like that? I made that. What'd you say?
I don't know if I've made it this far in the podcast.
I made that myself. You like that little riff?
That was a
I
genuine
like that.
reaction. That was awesome.
Wow.
No, start watching, please.
I was literally sitting here like, is there going to be a little dude, a little ditty? I
little
figured this
ditty.
is like the point where there should be.
It's our
building
best
up the
jingle.
extra point. Can we
All
do it
right.
again?
So my extra point, I thought about it. Typically, it's not football related, but I am going to make this football related for this. It doesn't have to be. It could be anything. It could literally be a would you rather, or something off the ball, or what you saw. If you saw something interesting in London, hint hint. So my extra point is the hypocrisy of the tush push. Okay. I find it very, very alarming and sad and pathetic that every year the Eagles have success, there is a mob of angry GMs and presidents and people who aren't football people going to the league meetings with pitchforks and flames saying we got to abolish the tush push. Every year we have success with it. And then every year we don't have success with it, 2023, 2025, crickets. Absolute crickets. Now, this wouldn't bother me if it wasn't for the fact that last year they made it not about the effectiveness of the play, but about player safety. Now, I'm not an expert on body physiology when it comes to the impact of this play, but as far as I know, the play looks exactly the same, and that means that it's just as dangerous using their own logic. Which again, there was only 3 votes that were missing that would have banned the play. Where is the outcry? Where is it? I saw a lot of teams running the tush push this year. I don't know if you guys did, but I saw a lot of teams starting to run tush push. Now all of a sudden, crickets. And I am so pissed that all of a sudden everyone is like, it's fine. You can keep it. But no. It was all about health. So you can either say it was never about health, or you can say that you lied. You can't do both. Okay? You can't do both. It's such hypocrisy. It's stupid. And the teams that I'm like laying bare are the Bills, and Sean McDermott got fired, so the coward can't even go stand on his morals now about it at the league meeting, so he can't even like talk about it because he's already been canned. So where's he at saying, "Oh yeah, well, we don't need it anymore. It's fine. We don't want to push this ban." I'm so mad about it. I don't even really like the tush push anymore. Like I'm sure, Brett, you may have heard me talk about this, but I don't really like that they run it. I think it's a very predictable play. I think a lot of teams kind of have the book on it now, and I think it kind of created a crutch for our offense, and it was just not a really fun and unique way to actually move the ball. So
I think we got away from what it made it great.
Yeah.
Jalen started adding nuances to it, and I'm going to take a step to the left. I'm going to go back and then up. It's like, just push the fucking ball.
Well, I think what happened, why the nuances were added, were because pushing the ball wasn't working. I see the data. The data shows actually, the data shows that it was not as effective, Brett, and that's why they were running off tackle with it. But no,
That's why.
So yeah, I'm just not a fan of the hypocrisy. That's my extra point. I hated the fact that it was, let's get rid of it, and now it's all of a sudden we're not going to bring it up because news broke today that they were not going to push for a ban. So that's why I brought it up. Thoughts?
So is it fair to say they ran it less this year?
They did. They kind of got away from it. They realized
it felt like it was less.
Once they saw it was being
but
stopped.
It's logical for the outcry to go down if it's run less.
Not by us.
and not in our face.
Less by us, more by the NFL.
If you were to look at the data, I would say as a whole, the tush push probably was ran just as a per capita by the league, probably more than it ever was. But it wasn't exclusively just ran by us, and we probably reduced it by like 20%. I don't think it was like we're not using it play anymore, but it's a noticeable dip in our usage and effectiveness. Whereas I saw team after team after team push the quarterback forward, and look at that Josh Allen Bills game in the playoffs where like they pushed him like 10 yards down the field. Like it's obviously something that the teams covet and use now. It's still every bit as
Now the teams will line a tight end up under center.
Yeah, and that just tells me they didn't have the manpower to make it work because Jalen Hurts has like god thighs.
Yeah.
So like they find someone who's like comparable to push. So yeah, that's why it's hypocrisy.
I feel like you always hated the health argument, but then
I
you're
thought
also
it was bullcrap.
right.
I didn't think it was good faith.
And you said, well, there's no one on our team
right.
that got hurt off it.
Yeah, no one got hurt.
But
it was
like
never about health.
But when I mentioned earlier today, it sounded like all 5 of the Eagles offensive linemen were yelling like "Fred my leg," like everyone's hurt. And that's after 6 months of not playing football. So it's one of those like,
that's what Yahoo said.
Sure, no one
I
missed
don't
any
think it was
games, but everyone entered week 1.
Yahoo said they're hurt.
Okay,
they are hurt. They were hurt. They were
Yeah.
hurt. Landon Dickerson, go check the tweets. Yeah, you could have had surgery.
Whether he wants to play football anymore, and he's 27, and
Yeah, Landon
I'm just
Dickerson.
saying, like, just because there wasn't like a direct link to this player got hurt on this play doesn't mean that specific play doesn't take a unique toll, because essentially what you're doing is you're just like banging bodies in a short area, whereas especially when you know it's coming, when you're like spread out, getting like 5 wide, and you got to play for multiple scenarios, so the impact's not going to be as much as it would be when we all know what we're doing here. We're all just diving our heads into one area.
George.
And so honestly, and while I think there's some like validity to the health concern idea, honestly, my bigger gripe about the play itself, it's kind of hard to watch, which makes it hard to judge and referee. How do you know where the ball is? I'm not saying you get rid of all quarterback sneaks or all runs inside, the guards and the centers and stuff, but how do you judge where the ball is?
How do you judge it on any play? Running backs disappear in a
lot easier when it's more wide open.
I think a lot of referee ball placements.
We've watched instant replays where you could see, nope, his knee's down there, the ball's here, the first down is here.
Do you think referees actually know exactly where the ball is?
How many times you're like, well, it depends
Tanner,
what the
saying
call
there's
is.
a minimum amount of people that need to be involved in a play now?
No, I'm just saying it's not aesthetically pleasing, and it makes it even more difficult to judge where the ball is.
What's the limit? 4 people allowed in the frame? 3?
No, I'm just saying I don't like it. I don't necessarily don't have a solution. I'm just complaining.
No, look, Tanner, I
do think it's BS though to only bring it up when the Eagles win. That is BS. Have you ever met someone who's like, they agree with you, but they're right for the wrong reason? And I'm like, okay, now we're like, yeah, these people make like people like me who actually like don't like the play. I don't know how to. I don't agree with them only bringing it up when the Eagles win.
Right. It's frustrating because it literally speaks to just jealousy, to be honest. And I hate saying that because
now that other teams figured it out, they're like, it's okay.
Yeah, it's okay.
It's not so bad.
No one's getting hurt. Yeah, they suck at it, so it's fine now. I remember. Listen, I get that quarterback sneaks in general are hard to officiate. One of my first core memories of an Eagles-Giants game from like 2006 was McNabb trying to sneak a ball. And I remember we didn't get a 4th down because they deemed that that they couldn't determine where the ball was on the sneak, and we ended up losing the 4th down challenge. So I remember thinking to myself, man, like sneaks are risky. Like you don't know where that ball is, and you're just hoping the official rules in your favor, because you don't know where that ball disappeared to. And the tush push is just like that on steroids. You don't know where the heck that ball is. And I will say the Eagles have benefited a lot on like odd, placement, and maybe the play wasn't blown dead, and Jalen gets that extra push forward a little bit, So like I do think we've definitely benefited from how the play's been officiated. But again, I wouldn't hate it if it's gone. I don't. It's fine if it stays. I don't mind it if it's gone. I just wanted it to be gone organically, that it's not working anymore. I want it to run its course like natural selection and like,
Like
hey,
the Wildcat.
yes, like the
Right.
Wildcat. If it dies a Wildcat death, I think that's a very noble way to go.
I
But
agree.
to be banned on some like, fallacious, oh, it's health related when there's no data that supports that except for 2 Eagles offensive linemen who kind of got hurt, like were like limpy all year.
It's like
I
they're
don't think that's
waiting for Jalen Hurts to tear his ACL on the play.
yes,
Just
they
so
are.
They can use it as the catalyst to get rid of it.
Oh, no, you know what they're waiting? They're waiting for Josh Allen to like tear his
Ooh,
Achilles
yeah.
pushing by being pushed, and
Yeah.
they'll be like, "Oh, the
Oh,
Eagles!"
no, they'll celebrate it when it works. That 9-yard push for the touchdown.
Oh, absolutely. It's insane that Sean McDermott got on his high horse and started yammering about how it's a dangerous play, and then the following season ran it just as much as anyone else. It's so hypocritical. Again, I could go on this for like another 15 minutes. I'm not, because I'm just going to go in circles. So I'll let someone else do the extra point. What do you guys got? Who's going to jump in?
All right, I got one. Not football related at all.
Good.
You go to Buffalo Wild Wings, you go anywhere to get wings. What sauces are you picking?
Ooh.
Ooh. What I've
Ooh.
recently started doing, and you have to ask, you can't do this on the app most of the time. You
Oh.
ask them to mix the sauces,
What?
and they'll do it.
Well, what are you mixing?
Yeah, and where?
As of late, I've been mixing honey barbecue and a garlic parm sauce. Delicious.
I never would have thought of that.
Wait, where
Yeah.
do you do this at?
We had one place that right down the road that they made it an option online, and we were like, that's just half and half, right? And we did it, and they mixed them. And now wherever we go, McKinley's did it for us.
Whoa, mixed
Yeah.
sauces. That I gotta get on that. I just
I
went to
love the
B-Dubs.
idea that they were like, oh, half and half. They want us to mix
They're
it.
like, nah, mix
Dude,
it.
I see. Now I'm thinking like Asian Zing with like Asian Zing mixes at B-Dubs. I'm like,
They'll
oh,
do it.
they'll do it.
They'll do it. They won't like it, but they'll
Asian
do
would
it.
be a good
They
mixer.
won't like it, but they'll do it.
They gotta make a new bowl, but they gotta clean the new bowl. But
You're making dirty dishes for everyone.
they'll do it.
They won't like it, but do it. Oh, that's a good one. So I guess to answer Tanner's question from not like just mixing them, I've always been partial, and I think I'm like one of the only 2 people in the world that like this sauce. I love Thai curry sauce at B-Dubs, and Asian Zing. Those are my 2 favorites at Buffalo Wild Wings, at least. And at the other locations, I just typically go with like some sort of like medium or hot buffalo sauce, and then maybe something exotic like some sort of like spicy teriyaki or something. So it depends on the place that I go to. Why? What's yours, Tanner?
Asian Zing is tier 1 for me. It's the
Easily.
best of both. You mix the spicy and the sweet. That's
Yeah.
why I think for Brett's idea that Asian Zing would be a good mixer.
Oh, I know.
I
I just don't
agree.
know what you mix it
Yeah.
with. Probably barbecue. I don't know. Buffalo.
Yeah.
Probably buffalo.
I mean,
or garlic
it's
parm
big
might
as
not be
Peter.
bad. A little
Yeah.
cheese action.
Oh, cheese.
And then, I mean, just classic buffalo, like hot. That would be my other choice.
All
I do
right.
like Parmesan garlic though. Those are my top 3.
Yeah. It's all right, Brett. You got an extra point?
Yeah, I got one. It's more so the last 4 or 5 days we were in England, we rented a car.
Okay.
And I experienced driving on the other side of the road and, in the passenger seat, which I thought would be a huge adjustment. And honestly, it took me about 30 minutes for it to stop feeling weird.
Really?
And
Not that long.
yeah.
Huh?
But like the only thing is you kind of feel like you're 16 again. Like everything's a little scarier on the road. Like
That sounds terrifying.
But the one thing I have to say about it is the people in England, they know how to drive, and their highways, they are so much more efficient than anything I've ever seen in this country.
What do you mean?
So there's signs everywhere that'll state service trucks and 18-wheelers stay in the slow lane, which is their left lane. regular cars stay in the middle lane and nobody goes to the fast lane or their passing lane, which it's supposed to be a passing lane, but nobody knows that here. And I've been at fault of, even using that just to go fast. But that lane is clear as day for miles. You sit in the middle lane with your cruise control on at whatever speed you want to go. And then once you need to pass, or as they say, take over, you get over. And then you get over, then you get back into the middle lane. It was the smoothest roads I've ever seen. Just drive.
Wow.
I didn't hit any traffic going through England. So my extra point, America, learn how to drive.
I think, you know what? I think we got a TikTok clippable moment right there. That was great. I think you got the gist of this whole segment. I think you nailed it. I'm glad you
appreciate it. I was thinking, I was like, I hope this fits.
No, that is exactly what I was hoping for that segment, like the kind of
I
vibe
know
that I'm
30
wanting.
minutes doesn't sound like a long time, but
That's a scary 30 minutes.
It was. It
you
was.
find out you're not good at it, you might not have another 30 minutes. And that's my concern.
Your last
So
30
we were
minutes.
smart about it, and we were in London the first 2 days, and I was thinking to myself, London's older than New York. New York is one of the hardest cities to drive in. I don't want to drive there. So we took the bus or the Uber back to the airport, picked up the car there. And so I didn't have to drive in London at all. So most of it was like country roads or highway roads.
Wow.
So it wasn't really inner city, like really tough, like bumper to bumper. And I never hit traffic. And I drove, it was 700 miles total.
Well, all right. So I got one before we hop off and conclude the pod. What was the best food you had there in London?
Fish and chips.
Oh, that's cliche. I'll buy it.
The fried
No
haddock and
beans and
chips.
toast?
Oh
It was
my
that
God.
good, huh? Wow.
It was delicious. We had it 2 or 3 different times, and every time it hit. But I will say about the English, man, they're interesting. You'd read a dish, and they'd get it about 80% right. And then
What do you
just
mean?
ruin it. So for breakfast, let's just say there's a plate here with bacon. It's like Canadian bacon. It's not our bacon. Not as
It's like ham.
yeah. They'll have their bacon. They'll have sausage, eggs, hash brown. You're reading this, you're like, oh, this sounds great. This is meaty. And then they'll say, and we're gonna put two ladles of baked beans on top. And you're reading it and go, what? And that's how like every menu item would be, or it'd be like, and there's some, and it's topped with gravy. It's like something that does not need gravy.
God, what a tease!
It really was. Just seeing them say, like I always heard the memes where they say the British still think they're in World War II, and with their food choices, and it's pretty it tracks.
Wow.
But once we learned, that the British food wasn't all that and stuck to Italian or just anything not English, the food got pretty damn good.
Well, that's good. That's good. Wow. You know what? That gives me hope for when we travel abroad. And I don't know if I'll ever go to England, but that sounds really exciting that you got experience the roads, because that would freak me out. That would freak me.
I don't even trust you on normal roads, John. So there's no way.
I know, dude. Honestly, like,
insane.
I think I'd last like, I'd probably hit something in 15 minutes.
There was one thing that I said to her, because everybody was like so conscious of each other. Like if I was in the wrong lane, someone would just let me over immediately. And I was telling Candace, I said, me coming here and driving is 100 times easier than someone from England coming to America and trying to drive, because they would be in a world of hurt just because of how crazy we drive.
There's more about us, though.
And how many weird rules, because we turn right on red. They don't turn on red.
They don't, like, at all.
Oh, you don't do that. You just wait.
Really? So they don't have any turn on red. So I guess it's left on red there, but they can't.
They have a lot more yields or and roundabouts.
Interesting.
Yeah, that's what you'll see instead of a red light.
Wow.
Roundabouts are good.
They love a roundabout, multiple lanes.
Dang, what a good extra point session. That was great. God, I wish I did a non-football one. Dang, I should have done mine. Dang. All right, I had another one.
You should have got the tush push in before.
I know, but we kind of moved away from it. All right. So thanks for listening, guys. Next week, what we're gonna do, Tanner, I think we have on the docket like some like pre-combine pod action. I kind of think that's where we're going. Is like a little
All
bit of
participants actually started going to Indianapolis yesterday, so guys are still
Wow.
they're starting to get there, and the real
Yeah.
activity start on Thursday.
So I think the next two pods are going to be primarily combine based. We'll probably do a little bit of research on the players that are going to be in the combine because by Monday and Tuesday, I don't think many of the on-field workouts will have happened. I think the NFL has really done a good job of like pushing those to be like viewer events, like making sure people can see them and are propping them up. So a lot of like the skill position players usually go on their on-field tryouts and their different workouts on like Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, which unfortunately doesn't line up with our pod schedule. So we'll still be able to, do some like preview work of the combine, and then the next pod will be able to kind of do some recap. And as you know, the combine's great because there's always one or two or three or four or five players that kind of like pique our interest. Like I remember hearing about Jordan Davis for the first time at the combine. So I mean, like he's someone who I was like, wait a second, this dude's a freak. Like I might want him. So, a lot of good storylines kind of erupt from combine. So we're going to really tackle that next week and see who we have, I guess, our eye on. So, and after that, we'll just, take it into the free agency preview. So we got a nice little schedule of pods coming up.
Brett, what's your favorite combine event?
Oh, that's a good question.
Tanner, I really didn't look into it much after you texted me. I really like. I don't know what it's called. Is it the 3-cone drill where they come out?
There's a 3-cone.
And they come out and do the agility drill there. I like watching that.
Where the guy in the middle has the thing and they go, and like they run the other direction.
That honestly I like that one. That's probably my favorite because I honestly think burst has a lot. Is probably one of the, if not the most important thing of athleticism.
Tanner, what's your favorite? What's your favorite combine drill, Tanner? You could probably guess.
I like watching the big guys run the 40.
Oh,
I actually think there's something to it. Everyone hates on the 40, saying no one ever runs a 40-yard dash in a game without being touched. I think there's actually a lot of correlation between offensive linemen in their 40 times. I think it correlates into like explosiveness and acceleration. And I think if you look at a lot of the best offensive linemen, a lot of them probably have some of the better 40-yard dashes.
Lane Johnson, he's a freak. My favorite combine drill is the gauntlet, where like the receivers run down the 40-yard line and they just go, whoom, whoom, and they're just turning and catching and turning and catching and turning and catching. Just quarterbacks just humming it in there like at 99 throw power, and they're just like catch drop, catch drop, catch drop, and then at the last they have to do the little toe tap at the end and get in bounds. I love that drill. It's so exciting. Well, you want to know why I love it? I love it because I wish I could do it. Like I think that'd be fun. It'd be fun to have it'd be fun to have 8 dudes just throw footballs at you from different angles and just see who could do it.
We have 8 guys who are willing to do it. We just don't have 8 footballs.
Wow.
It's like $30 a ball.
Yeah. So it's been a fun pod. Brett, thanks for coming on. We'll definitely have you on at some point in the off season because we got a lot of pods to do. We're doing one a week. We got a lot of pods.
The second the Giants win their 6th game, we'll have you on.
That'll be that pod.
We'll go for that.
Week 8.
That'll be that pod. All right, guys. Well, thank you for joining us. This is our longest pod. Can't believe it. 1 minute and 47 seconds. So thanks for joining us. And thank you. And we'll see you next week on Birds Coast to Coast.